Mohammad Barkindo, Secretary General of OPEC. Welcome to teleSUR. Welcome to teleSUR News. It is a pleasure.
Thank you very much for
Muchas
having me,
gracias.
Tatiana.
Thank you very much for having me,
A usted
Tatiana.
muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Viene usted a visitar Venezuela
So you come to visit
durante unas
Venezuela
72
during
horas
72 hours approximately
en el marco de los 61
in the
años
framework
de
of
la
the
creación de
61
la OPEC.
years of the creation of OPEC.
Son 13 naciones que componen
13
la OPEC.
nations
Usted
comprise
escoge Venezuela.
OPEC. You
Para
choose
este
Venezuela for this
momento
important
histórico
moment,
para la OPEC.
historical
¿Por qué
moment
lo
for
hace? ¿Por qué
OPEC.
Venezuela?
Why Venezuela?
Thank you very much for this very
Muchas
important.
gracias.
Thank you very
por
much
esta
for
pregunta tan
this very
importante.
important question.
I deliberately selected to
Decidí
I deliberately selected
to
escoger a Venezuela,
to choose Venezuela,
of Pablo Perez Alfonso,
que es el país natal de
which is the home country
Pérez Pablo
of
Alfonso,
Pablo Pérez Alfonso,
first came up with the idea of forming
que fue el que tuvo
who
la idea de
came
formar
with the
la
idea
OPEC
of
way back in
creating the OPEC
en 1959.
in 1959.
and this idea of his
Esta idea que él
This
tuvo
idea of his,
to sell the idea
he decided
some
to
producing
sell the
la
idea
presentó
to some
varios países
oil-producing
productores.
countries,
he went to Cairo
y fue a
and
Cairo
he went to Cairo
en
in 1959
1959
to attend the first Arab
para
Petroleum Congress.
asistir al primer
to attend
Congreso
the first
Petrolero Árabe.
Arab
There
Oil
in
Congress.
Cairo, he met
En el
with
Cairo
In Cairo,
representatives
he
se
met
reunió con representantes
several representatives
del Reino de Arabia
of the
Saudita,
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia,
Irán, Irak
Iran, Iraq,
y Kuwait.
and Kuwait.
and he started this conversation with
Y
them
comenzó la
And he
conversación
started this conversation with them
para
to convince
convencerlos de la
them
necesidad
of the need
countries such as
de que
theirs
for
países
countries
como
such
los
as
se unieran
their
y
natural
those
protegieran
countries to
sus
work
recursos
together
naturales.
and to protect
and they
their natural resources.
Y se pusieron de acuerdo
And they
en el Cairo
agreed in
para
Cairo
firmar un acuerdo de
to
caballeros,
sign an agreement
entre ellos 5.
between the 5 of them.
Y decidieron
conference
And
celebrar la
they
primera
decided to
conferencia
celebrate the first
de los
conference
5 estados
of the,
miembros
of the 5
fundadores
founding member states
formed this organization
para formar
to
oficialmente esta
formally
organización
create this
en Irak, en
organization
Bagdad.
in Baghdad, Iraq.
in 1960, September 1960.
Y
In
en
September
septiembre de
1960,
1960,
These 5 founding members,
these
estos 5
5
miembros
founding
fundadores,
members,
led by Pablo Perez
dirigidos
led by
por
Pérez Alfonso
de Venezuela,
formed
from Venezuela,
OPEC,
formaron la OPEP
created the
a
OPEC
place called Al-Shab Hall
en un lugar que se llama
in a place called
Shab,
Al-Shab
in downtown Baghdad, Iraq.
en
in
Bagdad,
downtown Baghdad, Iraq.
y esa,
And
bueno, el resto
the
es
rest
historia.
is history.
Therefore, during this 61st commemoration
Therefore,
Por lo tanto,
during
en el
this
marco de la
61st
61ª
commemoration
conmemoración
conference,
de esta
of this
conferencia histórica de
historic
Bagdad,
conference in Baghdad,
better place
no hay un mejor sitio
there is no better
to
place
return to the source,
to return
Hay
to
que
the
volver
source,
a la fuente,
to this great country,
a este gran país,
to this great country,
land of Simon Bolivar,
la tierra de
the
Simón
land
Bolívar,
of Simon Bolivar,
Hugo Chavez,
y la
the
tierra
land of Hugo
de
Chavez,
the land of Khalifa
la
Nicolas
tierra
Maduro.
and
de
the
Khalifa
land of
Nicolás Maduro.
Nicolas Maduro.
Glad that I'm here.
Estoy muy feliz
I'm
de
glad
estar acá.
I'm here.
Held very, very important
I held a very important
Sostuve
meeting
reuniones sumamente importantes
to commemorate this
para
historic
to
conmemorar
commemorate
este evento histórico.
this historic event.
¿Cómo estuvo el encuentro con el presidente
How was
Nicolás
your
Maduro?
meeting
¿De
with
qué
President
hablaron?
Nicolas Maduro? What was all about?
It was a very productive,
Fue una reunión
It
muy
was a
productiva
very productive
y
and
fructífera.
fruitful meeting.
took quite some time. He was very
So we
generous.
Fue muy
We
generoso con su tiempo
took
y con
some
sus
time.
recursos
For some
durante
time, he was
bastante tiempo.
quite generous
We
with his time.
quite a lot of
Y
areas.
cubrimos
We covered
bastantes áreas de
several areas
mutuo interés,
of mutual interest,
The evolution
incluyendo
including
of this organization,
la
OPEC,
evolución
the
de la
evolution
organización
of
OPEC
this organization, the OPEC,
y el
Venezuela has played
papel
and
de liderazgo que
the
Venezuela ha
leading role
desempeñado
of Venezuela,
play till
y
today.
continúa desempeñando hoy.
and the role that Venezuela continues.
Time I meet
to play today.
Cada vez que me reúno con el
Every time
presidente
I meet
Maduro,
President Nicolas Maduro,
many things.
hablamos de muchas
we
cosas.
talk about many things.
He analyzed
Y él
the
analizó
61
And he analyzed
years of
los
OPEC
61
the
años
61
de vida de la
years
OPEP
in a very beautiful
of the
de
OPEC
una manera
in a
hermosa.
very beautiful manner.
The 61 years into three parts.
He divided the
Dividió estos
61
años
years in three
tres
parts.
partes.
He said the first
Dijo
part
que la
He
primera
said the
parte
first part
the foundation,
was the foundation,
correspondió a la fundación,
which was laid by Pablo Perez
which was
Alfonso.
led by
hecha por Pablo Pérez Alfonso.
Pablo Pérez Alfonso.
The second part of
La
the
segunda
second
parte
Part
evolución
of the
de la
evolution
OPEC
of the OPEC
was in 1999
fue
was
en
in 1999
1999,
when President Hugo Chavez
cuando el
when
presidente
President Hugo Chavez
llegó a la presidencia.
OPEC
became
was
president.
in dire straits at that time.
La OPEP estaba en muy
The
mala forma en
OPEC
ese tiempo.
was not in good shape at that time because
Severe challenges.
Estaba enfrentando
it was
distintos
facing
desafíos
several challenges.
Power and influence of the organization was waning.
y el poder
The power
la
and the
influencia
influence
de
of the
la
organization was
iba en
weak.
declive.
Many analysts and the media
Muchos analistas,
Many analysts and the
los
media
medios de
started
comunicación
talking about the demise of
starting
comenzaron a
talking
hablar
about
del fallecimiento
the
de la OPEP.
end of OPEC.
President Hugo Chavez
Pero
came
cuando el
on board.
But when President
presidente
Hugo Chavez
llegó,
He
arrived
decided to
and
revive
él
the
he decided
decidió darle
to
vida a la
revive
organización.
and
the organization.
Y recuerdo
And
vívidamente
I vividly remember
que
that
estaban todos los países miembros
all the member countries were there
y él se
and
reunió
he
con los presidentes,
met
los
with the
reyes,
presidents, the
primeros
kings, the
ministros,
prime ministers,
to my country,
y
Nigeria,
fue a mi
and
país,
he went to my
Nigeria,
country, Nigeria,
y se reunió con nuestro
and he
presidente
met my president at that time.
on the importance
y
And he
habló sobre
talked
la
about the importance
importancia de que tenía la OPEP y
of
que la misma debería
the OPEC
sobrevivir.
and that OPEC must survive.
mobilized
Y movilizó
He mobilized
todos los
all the
presidentes,
presidents,
a los jefes de
all the heads of
Estado,
state,
primeros ministros,
prime ministers,
a los reyes,
to the
a los
kings,
líderes,
to relaunch
a que se
to
acordaran
remind them
organization
to
pusieron de
relaunch
acuerdo
this
para
organization.
relanzar esta organización
at a summit
en
level.
una cumbre.
And in 2000,
Y
And
en el año
In
2000,
2000,
OPEC convened at
la
summit level.
OPEP celebró una
OPEC
cumbre
celebrated
aquí en
summit
Caracas.
here in
I was
Caracas,
personally in
y
attendance.
yo
and
asistí
I
personalmente a
personally
esa cumbre.
came to the summit.
Historic moment for
Fue un momento
It was a
histórico
historic
para la OPEP.
moment for OPEC.
organization that was
Era una
This was an
organización
organization
que ya estaba casi terminada.
which
as an organization that
was
had
pretty much dead.
Era una organización
It was an organization
que
that
estaba en situación crítica.
was in a very critical moment,
Pero el comandante
but
Hugo Chávez
Commander Hugo Chavez
movilizó
mobilized
todos los
all the
presidentes
presidents
a que vinieran aquí a Caracas.
to come
Y
here
se sostuvo
to
una
Caracas, and
cumbre
then
sumamente exitosa.
there was a very successful meeting,
Declaramos una
and
nueva-
we declared,
firmamos una nueva
we signed a
declaración
new declaration
que
that
dio nueva vida a la
revived
organización.
the organization.
El presidente Maduro me
President
dijo
Maduro told me
part of the evolution.
que eso formaba
that
parte
was
de
that was
la
the
segunda
second
etapa de la evolución de la
part of the evolution.
OPEP.
The third part
La tercera
The
parte
third part
came about in 2014
ocurre
came about between
de
2014 to
2014 a
2016,
2016,
when there was a complete disequilibrium between
cuando
supply and
había
demand.
un
when
desequilibrio
there was an imbalance between the offer and the demand
World oil
of oil,
cuando
when the
el mercado
world
petrolero
oil
market higher than
markets
subía mucho más
saw how
el suministro
the
que la demanda
supply increased
oil inventories around the world
y los
started filling up.
and how the
inventarios
world inventories
mundiales comenzaron
started
a
to
acumularse.
accumulate.
At one point
En un punto
in 2016,
At one point in 2016,
it had reached an unprecedented level
había
it reached an
alcanzado
unprecedented
sin precedentes
level
of
of
403 million
403 million
barrels
barrels
millones de barriles
above the 5-year
above the
average,
5-year
en promedio
average,
de 5 años.
and prices crashed
Y los
and the
precios se
prices
derrumbaron
crashed
to below $10.
a menos
to
de $10
less than $10
el barril
per
de
barrel.
petróleo.
And the world started
El mundo
talking
a raíz de
And the
esto,
world started
comenzó
talking about
a hablar
the
del
funeral
fallecimiento de la OPEP.
of the OPEC, that it was the end of the organization.
And then came
Y luego vino
President Nicolas
And then President Nicolas Maduro came, and
y él tomó el testigo de
he
donde el presidente
took
Chávez
the leadership
and said we must
left by President Chavez, and he said, "We cannot allow OPEC to die.
together
y debemos trabajar juntos
We have to work together
to restore stability
para
to the oil market.
restaurar la
to
estabilidad
restore
del
the
mercado
stability
petrolero".
of the oil markets."
Further than that,
Y fue más
And
allá de
he
eso.
went farther than that.
El presidente Maduro nos dijo
President Maduro told us
que debíamos
that
hablar con los países
we
que
must
estaban fuera de la OPEP,
talk about the
global energy
non-OPEC member
que
countries,
el paisaje de la energía
that
mundial había
the
cambiado
landscape of the global energy had changed,
y que ya no era
and that it was not longer feasible
que la OPEP por sí
for
sola mantuviera
OPEC
la estabilidad
to maintain
mercado
stability by
petrolero
itself
de manera
regarding
sustentable.
the global market.
bring new producers
Había
So
que
new
atraer a
producers
nuevos
had to be
productores
attracted
para que trabajaran con
to
OPEP.
work together with OPEC.
Y recuerdo
And I
claramente
clearly
presidente
remember that
Maduro
President
visitó
Maduro
casi todos estos
visited
países
pretty much all these countries,
y se reunió con
and
sus
he
contrapartes,
met
con los jefes de
with
Estado,
the heads of states
y
to
los convenció
convince them
de la necesidad
of the
de
need
volver a la mesa de negociaciones
to go to the negotiating
y de
table
atraer a
and
los
to
países
attract
no OPEC
the non-OPEC member countries
para poder tener un nuevo marco
to have a
de
new
cooperación
framework of
entre
cooperation
países OPEP y
between
OPEC.
Y aparece
OPEC countries and non-OPEC
OPEC+.
countries. And then OPEC Plus appears. Yes.
Así es.
framework of the declaration of
El marco
The
de la
framework
declaración
of
de
the
cooperación
declaration of
entre los países
cooperation
OPEP y
between
no OPEP
the OPEC countries and the
es
non-OPEC
lo que se
countries
conoce
is what
ahora
is
como
known
OPEP
right
Plus.
now like OPEC Plus.
Fue a través de estos grandes
It was through
esfuerzos hechos por el
all these
presidente
big
Maduro,
efforts
como
by
que
President
países como
Maduro,
la
like
Federación Rusa,
countries like the Russian Federation,
Kazajistán,
Kazakhstan,
Azerbaiyán,
Azerbaijan, Mexico, Oman,
y
and
varios otros países
several others
se unieron
joined OPEC
el 10
the 10th of December 2016
2016 para firmar la
to
histórica
find
declaración
the
de
historic
cooperación.
Declaration of
Y es
Cooperation.
esta declaración
And this
que
declaration,
hemos seguido implementando
we have implemented this
desde
declaration
2016.
since 2016.
Y Venezuela,
And Venezuela,
dada su única
given
posición y
its
estatus en la
position and
organización,
status within the organization,
fue invitada
was
a
invited
presidir el
to
comité
preside over the
de
monitoring committee
monitoreo para
to
monitorear la
monitor
implementación de las
the
decisiones.
implementation of the decisions.
Y en este
And this
marco,
framework was a historic
hemos marcado un momento
timing point
histórico en la OPEP y en la industria petrolera
within the
mundial,
OPEC and in the global
porque por
oil
primera
industry,
vez en la
because for the
historia,
first time in history,
en los
in
61
61
años de
years
existencia de la
of
organización,
history of the organization, for the
vez,
first time,
estamos trabajando con países
we are working with
que
countries
no son
which are
miembros,
not
de la OPEP,
OPEC members,
sino que están
but they are
de la
convinced
necesidad de
of the
unirse
need
al trabajo de
of
la OPEP,
joining the work
a
of the
tomar
OPEC
decisiones
to take
juntos,
joint decisions, to
a poner en
implement
práctica
these
esas
decisions
decisiones
together,
juntos y
to
monitorear la
even
implementación
monitor the implementation
juntos,
together.
para que
So
tengamos
we have a
una
very
coalición muy
strong
fuerte
coalition
de 24
of
países
24
productores, de petróleo,
oil producing
gracias a
countries,
Venezuela,
thanks to Venezuela,
gracias al presidente
thanks to
Nicolás
President
Maduro,
Nicolas Maduro.
esto fue posible.
All this was possible. Secretary General, so tell me about this, and without any doubt, those who listen to you in Venezuela and outside Venezuela, they should feel proud of everything Venezuela has done for the stability of the oil prices globally. For example, the 2020 was very complex, but in this moment, it is paradoxical because Venezuela is permanently sieged by a blockade, which is criminal and illegal, by the United States and some of its allied countries. As a matter of fact, these days, the oil minister told you that urgent measures have to be taken to counteract this kind of situation, not only in Venezuela but also in other countries. What's your opinion? Thank you very much. This is a very important question.
Estoy de acuerdo
Yes, I agree with you
con usted que el año 2020
that
fue el
2020
año más
was
desafiante
the
en la
most
historia del
challenging year for
Como
the oil
resultado de la
history
pandemia
as a result
de la COVID.
of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Vimos
We saw
la demanda mundial
the
del petróleo
oil global
contraerse
demand contracted by more than 22 million barrels
por 22
of oil a
millones
day.
de barriles al día en abril. Esto
It was in
es la
April, and this is the
contracción más
highest
alta de la historia del
contraction
petróleo.
in the oil
Porque
history
el mundo se
because
detuvo.
the world stopped.
Los gobiernos tuvieron que
Governments
tomar
had
medidas
to take
severas
several
para
measures
contener el
to
virus.
contain the
Es decir,
virus.
fue el momento
So
más
it was the
difícil
most
para
difficult
el
moment
mundo,
for the
For the
world
el uso de la energía fósil. El momento más
regarding the
difícil
use of
para la
fossil
humanidad.
energy.
You are quite correct.
Usted está en lo cierto.
You are
Ha sido
correct.
el tiempo más
It's been the
desafiante,
most
más
challenging
difícil
and
para la
most
humanidad.
difficult moment for
Cuando
humanity
vimos cómo
when
el
we
mundo
saw
entero se
how the
paralizó.
entire world paralyzed.
Nadie viajaba,
No one was traveling. People were
las personas
walking
iban a su casa
to their homes.
caminando, las tiendas,
Shops,
restaurantes,
restaurants,
todo se
everything
cerró.
closed.
Las personas
People were
tenían
afraid
miedo
of
de
meeting each other,
encontrarse, de reunirse,
and
y por
therefore
lo tanto, la demanda de la energía,
the energy
del petróleo
demand
se
and the
derrumbó.
oil demand collapsed.
Y con ello
And with it, we saw an
ocurrió
unprecedented
colapsos sin
collapse
precedentes en los precios del petróleo.
in the oil prices.
El 20 de abril
On
del
April the
año
20th
pasado,
last year,
estábamos absolutamente
we were
sorprendidos por lo que
absolutely
vimos.
shocked
Por primera
for what
vez,
we
los
saw.
precios
For the first time in the history,
cayeron a
the
niveles
oil prices
negativos,
decreased
con el West
and
Texas
collapsed
Intermediate,
to negative prices,
el
with the
precio de
West
referencia de Nueva
Texas
York,
Intermediate.
se cayó a menos
It
de
collapsed
$3 por barril.
to minus $3 a barrel.
Las ventas
The selling
tenían que pagar
had to be paid
terceras personas.
in
Esto
third
nunca
countries,
había pasado.
for third countries, and that had never happened before.
Pero lo más importante
But the most
que
important
quisiera compartir con usted
that I want to share with you
es que el presidente
is that
Nicolás Maduro
President Nicolas Maduro
estuvo a la altura del
was
desafío.
up to the challenge.
Yo estaba en
I
contacto
was in direct
directamente con
contact
él
with him
durante
during
este momento
all
tan
this difficult time.
difícil. Y
and
yo vi de primera mano
I saw firsthand
los
his
esfuerzos
heroic
heroicos
efforts,
que hizo. Y él me
and
dijo,
he told me,
"No
I'm
estoy
not
haciendo
doing
esto solamente por
this just
Venezuela.
for Venezuela.
Estamos
We
sujetos
are
a sanciones
facing
severas.
severe sanctions.
Tenemos una
We
guerra
have
económica
a
en
war
Venezuela,
economy in
pero es
Venezuela,
nuestra responsabilidad
but it is our responsibility
estar a la altura
to be
del
up to the
desafío,
challenge, to
movilizar a
mobilize OPEC, to
movilizar a los
mobilize the
países
non-OPEC producing
que son
countries,
productores de petróleo y enfrentar
and to
juntos
face
esta tormenta.
together this storm.
Y personalmente
And personally,
el presidente
the president
habló con los países productores líderes del
talked to
mundo
the leading producing countries in the
para
world,
que junto con él
so together, they all
enfrentaran este
together
desafío.
to face this
Y
challenge.
me dijo,
And he told me,
no necesitamos
we do not
reinventar la rueda
reinvent the wheel,
porque
because
en
in
2016
2016
nosotros
we
firmamos
signed
un marco histórico de cooperación
historic
entre los
agreement
países OPEP y
of
non-OPEP,
cooperation between the
llamada la
OPEC
Declaración de
countries,
Cooperación,
member countries, and the
e
non-OPEC
implementamos
member
esta
countries, and
declaración en
we
2017,
implemented this declaration in
18,
2017, 18, 19,
y lo hicimos
and
bien.
we did it well.
Entonces,
So
aquí no
there is no
tenemos ninguna
need
razón
to
para
reinvent
la rueda.
the wheel.
Tenemos que apoyarnos en este marco y
We have to
juntos
support ourselves, and together rescue the oil industry. As a result of that intervention, we took the most historic decision in April 2020. First, we responded to the collapse of the demand with 22 million barrels of oil per day and an agreement with the non-OPEC countries led by the Russian Federation to adjust to our demands to 9.6 million barrels per day. And this was the largest adjustment in the 61 years of OPEC. And we went beyond that. We decided to take a longer duration of 2 years after April 2022, which is now extended to December 2022. Normally, our decisions have a duration of 6 months, from 6 months to 1 year, but given the difficulties of this storm, we decided to take a longer time. And I would like to report to you, and we have extensively discussed these with President Maduro when I met him, that we are satisfied with the implementation of these historic decisions we have taken. The implementation has reached 100%, and we've seen how the market has positively responded. We must pay tribute to President Maduro, as he told me last year. I'm not doing this only for Venezuela. We are facing sanctions, but the world has to survive. OPEC has to survive. The oil industry has to survive. Venezuela sits on the largest reserves of hydrocarbons in the world. You have the largest oil reserves in the whole world. Now, these reserves, and I've seen this in the past, do not only belong to Venezuela. They belong to the whole world. The world will continue to use oil and gas in the future. And right now, we are facing two scores. One is climate change. Two is energy poverty. I come from Africa. I can tell you that today there are over 600 million people in Africa who have no access to electricity. No electricity. Over 600 million people. There are about 900 million people in Africa with no access to any kind of fuel to cook, clean fuel. So the United Nations approved the Sustainable Development Objectives. And for these Africans, they need access to energy. It is a right in an affordable price. How can they do that? The reserves that you have in Venezuela will be necessary for these Africans to fight the energy poverty, the fuel poverty. The alternative is to sentence them to permanent fuel poverty. No, this is not acceptable for the United Nations. Therefore, the sanctions against Venezuela are sanctions against Africa and other parts of the world that do not have access to these resources. But we have hope that all this will be resolved. President Maduro have assured me that there are currently ongoing negotiations, and therefore we are very happy that these negotiations continue, and in the name of God, everything will be resolved, not only for the interest and for the benefit of Venezuela, but for the benefit of OPEC, Africa, and all the producing countries and the consumer countries. This world is consuming 100 million oil barrels per day before the COVID-19. And in our projection as OPEC, this growth in the post-COVID era will continue. Now, where are we going to take all these resources? Venezuela. So, therefore, we are very hopeful, we are optimistic that we will see the best days for Venezuela, better days for OPEC, better days for Africa. To have better days, the entire humanity. Secretary General of OPEC, thank you very much for your words. Thank you very much for the interview. Good night. Thank you very much, Tatiana.